Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Truth Talks with T. I'm going to give Facebook, YouTube a few minutes to join, to build up an audience tonight, and then we will get started. When you come into the room, say hello. Let me know where you are watching from. I'm excited to be with you guys tonight. For those of you who know me, you already know it's your girl T. Hi there, Sharita. Hi, how are you? Where are you watching from? My name is Tacondra, for those of you who don't know me. And again, welcome to Truth Talks with T, where we discuss all things truth so that we aren't stuck living a lie. And tonight, yes, you will see, even in our discussion, we'll be talking about the beauty and the barriers of being relational on social media. It involves truth. Okay. Okay, Sharita, you're in Florida. I'm from Florida. What part? Hello, Carlicia. Nice to have you join me tonight from Plant City. That's my town. That's where I'm from. Hey, Kimberly Michelle. I know who that is. I think I do. Nice to have you. So, you guys, again, thank you for joining me. I hope that you guys stay tuned in for this live. Let me know one thing that you are grateful for today. What happened to you today that you are grateful for? While Facebook is building us up an audience. Again, my name is Tacondra L. Brown. For those of you who don't know me, I am a wife, mother, author, transformational speaker, and I love to inspire healing and transformation in you so that even greater works can be done through you. But tonight on Truth Talks About Tea, we are talking about the barriers, or the beauty and the barriers of social media and being relational. Again, truth is what separates the men from the boys. It separates the women from the girls and the saints from the ain'ts, in addition to the slaves from the sons. So here's something that I want to talk about tonight, you guys. Here is my truth about social media, okay? I have always had a love and hate relationship with social media. If you know me personally, you know that's not a secret. And if you follow me on social media, then you will see from my pages that, I'm not always active or engaged. In my defense, I will say that is mostly because I enjoy spending a lot of my time creating more than I do consuming. But I am still in the process of growing in my own journey of being more relational on social media. So I thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you who are consistently showing up, I certainly do appreciate you for giving me the grace, okay, to show up on social media, because your girl, I'm still learning. But one of the things that I will say is that I've been blessed tremendously by people and even divine connections in my life because of social media. And tonight I have a special guest that will be joining me who I've actually developed a relationship with over the past, I want to say it's a year and a half. So going on 2 years, it'll be. Her name is Deshawn, but she goes by Shoney Official. You guys, she is a social media influencer who has made her mark in the world as a lifestyle coach. Her experience includes business, health, and holistic coaching. And in addition to that, you guys, she does so many things, okay? She's a creative. She customizes things, and she's an artist. She sings, but she also produces online shows for those wanting to expand, their social media presence and be more visible. So without further ado, I am going to ask you all to help me welcome my friend, Deshawn Hosley, aka Shoney Official.
Hey!
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I got to get used to calling you Shoney Official, because I call you Deshawn all the time.
Yes.
But if you want to go ahead and just greet the audience, that'll be fine.
Yes. So hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you all. And thank you to my awesome, I'm going to call her my sister, because that's a little deeper than friend, Tacondra of Truth Talks. So you're awesome host. And I'll shout out to a few people I see on here. So Carlicia, Sharita, Kimberly, Antoinette, everybody out here. Yeah. So glad to see you guys on here tonight. And you're in for a treat. So let's hang out tonight.
So let's start with, I want you to give everyone, first of all, because we said, the benefits or the beauty and the barriers of being relational on social media. Can you just quickly give us what your definition of relational is?
Definitely. So my definition of being relational is simply being the face of God to other people through relationship. That's it. Everybody, we all know we cannot see God. He's invisible, but we can see him through each other or through his sons and daughters. So.
Absolutely. I love that definition. And it's basically, like she said, it's living in relation to others. It's recognizing that there's this interconnectedness that we have, and just being engaged. Hello, there's that word, centered and grounded, and just being kind and humble to other people. Like you said, we are God's hands, feet, his heart, his face on the earth. So we wanted to make that clear what relational means. But let's dive into the whole thing with social media. And I guess we can start just a little bit by telling our story about how we met. So again, those of you who know me, I was not relational on social media like that. And when Deshawn and I met, it was a little over a year and a half ago. I had, just come out of some situations spiritually, and she popped up in my inbox on Facebook. I can't remember what we were talking about initially.
I do.
What was it?
So, well, first, let me give a little background for those who are on here. So, outside of all the wonderful things that Tacondra told you about myself, one of the other things is I'm a prophetess. So that's not something that I always broadcast on social media. But if it comes up in conversation, that we talk about that types of thing. But anyways, the way that God deals with me mostly is he shows me what he's saying to me. And so I see it like a movie prompter, it's just right there in front of my face. So, hey, Monica. So meanwhile, he also shows me pictures. Maybe God deals with you that way in dreams. These are the way he speaks to me. So meanwhile, I'm scrolling on social media because, we got to go to sleep at night. You know how we do. And we do the scroll.
Yeah.
And we fall into sleep. Well, while I'm doing the scroll, God begins to speak to me. And I pass by this beautiful young lady sitting next to me, Tacondra. And I don't know what her husband was using that day, a magical camera. I don't know. But he took this amazing picture of her, and I've seen many beautiful pictures that night scrolling through social media. It always says like people you may know or just other people you don't even know. And her picture literally popped out to me 3 times. 3 times. And I was like, no way. So I scroll again. Here she come back again in the scroll. And I said, oh my goodness. So her picture pops out to me again. And I literally heard God say, you need to reach out to her. And I'm thinking like, what for what? Like, what am I saying? What am I going to say? So God was teaching me, I know y'all going to think this is weird, but he was teaching me how to use the tool of the age to be relational. And so I reached out to her and I just said, well, hi, your picture is beautiful. Like, who did your picture? Because I really didn't know what to say. And she's gorgeous, as you guys can see. She's very beautiful. And so her picture was amazing. And she just began to tell me about her husband, loves to take photos of her and all these things like that. And we just began to talk. Yeah. That's it. We just began to talk. And we kept talking since then. And then she mentioned the word.
She mentioned the word.
Yeah. And she was like, what do you know the word? You said, what do you do? Yeah. And usually I don't even really say this. And I was like, oh, I do this, I do that. Oh, and I'm a prophetess. And she was like, oh, and then we start talking and we start talking about prophetic things. Because how many know, especially if you're out there and you're familiar with prophetic or anything like that, you really don't go around saying that word as much because you don't want anyone to think, whatever some of the people out there that give it a bad reputation. Right. Have given it. So you don't really go around all the time doing that. Right. And I'm not trying to solicit her for anything prophetic. We're just having conversation. Right. And so meanwhile, while I'm saying this word to her, I felt as though we found something that was common,
right,
to each other, and we just began to talk. So that was our initial conversation, and it was before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was around Thanksgiving, Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, like I said, she hit that one thing that I was interested in at that time. It was prophetic, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. Okay,
Yeah.
I can relate to that, and that pretty much set the flow of our conversation. And
Right.
I had questions at that time. I knew what I was praying, or I thought I knew what I was praying for. And God, it's crazy because she says I popped up, on her social media thing. And it was just like, I didn't know what I was praying for. So she was an answer that was actually sent to me during the time when I needed someone the most, as I was traversing a wilderness season in my life. So I'm grateful to God that you did that. He did send you. I am grateful. We had a question to say, is that from Christian faith? Absolutely. Absolutely. And we straight up Jesus lovers over here.
Yeah, it's just something simple. I want to give a simple definition of prophetic. It's just God's heart.
That's it.
What is God's heart towards you? And I think we all
That's
want to know that, right? We all want to know what that is. And he either speaks to you different ways, and you get in touch with how he speaks to you.
Absolutely. Sharing his heart. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And let me just go ahead and throw this in there. I told you guys she makes awesome things. She actually designed this custom leather jacket that I'm wearing. She has her own. Let me show you back because I'll forget.
You're all going like us. We do. I see it.
She's created this. So when I tell y'all she's graced with many gifts, this is one of them. And she not only does the leather jackets, but she does denim as well. So we'll let you know a bit more about how you can connect with her. So let's go ahead and just talk about more of you want to talk more about our situation, or you want to talk more about the beauty?
Yeah, we can talk about it in spurts. So we'll go back and forth. So there was a barrier before the beauty. How many know that happens, right? We'd be like, well, let me cover this, So one of the barriers that day was sleep, because I was scrolling. So I had to get over what I was particularly doing at that moment. And sometimes God wants to speak to you, but you're not paying attention, or maybe you're busy doing something or not. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, I was ready to go to sleep, but I was still scrolling. And I was like, okay, God, if that's what you want me to do, I'll send a little message.
Yes.
And I'll do that. So you have to get past the fear. And what I always tell people is do it anyway. Mm-hmm. What's the worst that you can do by reaching out to somebody?
Yeah.
So I took that chance, and I was able to reach out to her, and I made a decision to connect with her. And that's one of the things that's the beauty of social media, is the fact that you're not alone. How many people on social media? There's so many people on social media.
Yeah.
The thing is, you want to get to the right people, right? But you can't get to them unless you connect. And so getting past that barrier of fear brought me to the beauty of connection. And I really didn't know how deep that connection would be. I just was being obedient to the voice of God. I didn't know who Tacondra really was or anything like that. And I had no judgments, really, honestly, going in. And I was just excited about whatever God wanted to do. But I did know that God was speaking to me because I had already been in touch with how he does speak to me. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'll say about that. The second barrier that most people face up to why they will not connect with other people on social media is shame. Shame is one, either because shame is not when you say, and I'll use this word, this is a harsh word, I'm not a good person. Mm-hmm. Okay. Or I don't like me. Yeah. That's shame. Yeah. When you take on the title as yourself. Not I don't feel good, but I am not a good person. Like you're defining it as yourself. So the thing is, what people do on social media, they do this sometimes too. They'll wear masks. People don't do it on social media too. They do it in outside the world.
Absolutely.
They put on masks.
Absolutely.
And so they're ashamed of who they are, or someone finding out something that they don't like about them. And so they're like, I'm not really going to connect with this person because what if they see the real me?
The real me. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you can get past that barrier of shame, you can get to the beauty of new relationships.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And think about it. Most of the people on social media have probably been crying out to each other or to God or whoever or their friend.
Mm-hmm.
I want friends.
Yeah.
I want my girl tribe. I want my guy tribe, whatever that you want. I want to be around these people. Oh, I like this person on social media. I wish I could do that or whatever.
Right.
But we stalk them on social media
Mm-hmm.
or we sit in the balconies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But we never connect with them. And
Yeah.
why? Because we don't think, well, they're not going to like me.
And that's tied into, for me personally, rejection. When you're so used to being rejected, then you automatically self-sabotage. You don't even give yourself the opportunity to be accepted, and I've dealt heavily in my life with not just rejection from others, but self-rejection as well. So that's definitely a huge barrier to being relational, not just on social media, but even in person with people. Now, right now, all of us are most of us should be limited to social media, which is why we're talking about being relational on social media, because I know, like me, there are tons of others out there. I talk to them daily on the phones, when I do discovery calls, and it's like, oh, I'm not crazy about social media. And I'm like, listen, you're preaching to the choir. I'm the girl. If you want to talk about not liking social media, I am her. However, there are steps that you can take. There are things that you can do, and there's a mindset that you can grow in, to help overcome those barriers when it comes to social media. And you're going to give us some tips in the end. But do you have more barriers, or do you want to kind of talk about?
I have some barriers. So one of the things I want to say is, because you might be saying, I hear all that you're saying, but I'm still not really sure yet about that. And so what I would say is, when you start a conversation, because that's the question, how do I start a conversation? Don't be in the conversation to get something. Give something. Give something. Don't be in the conversation to get something. Give something.
Yeah.
Give. Isn't that the first? That's the first thing that the Father did for us. He gave.
The love of the world. He gave. That's right.
Yeah. He gave, and in return, he got something.
Yeah.
With my heart.
Yeah.
And I find if we follow that example, you're not going to get everybody's heart, but you might get some awesome people that you might meet on social media, or you just might encourage somebody on social media. That brings value to you, that brings value to them, that brings value to your life, and all those types of things. So getting back to, I mentioned two barriers earlier, fear and shame. The last barrier is control. We see this on social media all the time. I can't control what's going on in my life, so the only thing I can control is my account, so I'm going to deactivate. Okay, it's like everybody acting crazy around me, and they ain't doing what I want them to do. But I know what I can do. I wrote down this today, and this is my perfect excuse. And you know what? I'm going on fast. I'm getting closer to God, and I'm gonna deactivate.
Yeah.
Here's my question: Why don't we have a lifestyle where we are already engaging with God? Right? Does God say, I need to deactivate so I can get closer to Deshaun or to Tacondra? He doesn't do that. He's in constant fellowship with us, right? And the thing is, if we don't learn how to engage and disengage throughout our day, what I'm saying is, there's a time to be relational on social media, and there's a time not to.
Absolutely.
We're not relating on social media all day. We're setting time frames, because we also got to relate to our family. If you're married, you got to relate to your husband, your kids, whoever else you got to relate to. So you prioritize that time and you relate to other people, because the thing is, your husband can't provide for you what other people can. He got something he can provide for you, but not everything. Your kids not everything. And your kids can't provide for you everything that some people can. And you're like, well, I don't need people. Well, you do.
Yeah.
Not only do you need people, God needed people, because he made us. It wasn't enough just for him. He said, nope, I need people. And he knew that we weren't going to be perfect. He knew that we would mess up. And just the same way as he knows that, we have to know that. We have to know that we need people. They're going to mess up sometimes. They're human, right? They're not always going to get it right, but we still do need people. you know? And so we can't, when we try to go on that mode of controlling everything, we miss out on connection because now we're not vulnerable. We're not willing to be open with other people. We're holding everything close because if you find out who I really am, you probably wouldn't be my friend on social media anymore. Or some of us really have jacked up relationships in the real world. And so social media is like a place where we're like, well, I want to put this mask on and I want to portray this life that isn't. Because if you really find out what it is, then you probably won't. You probably won't like me.
Yeah. And then there are others who have just experienced so much pain from past hurts, you know, that trust factor is, it's just not there. And you probably shut that off. Like, I'm not even going to open up my heart to even, you know, allow someone in, especially I don't know you. And that was kind of how it was for me. Initially, when I met you, like we connected, but then it was like, I don't know how much I can trust, I'll even go in to say I was very nervous. We met in person probably.
Let me show the picture. Hold on.
Okay, you want to show a picture? So it was about a year or so when we actually met in person. She flew into Texas for an event that we were going to. Got to show a picture here together. So this was when we met. So this is our first time meeting.
After how long was it?
It was a little over a year. It was
a minute, yeah.
Well, no, it was right at a year. It had to be right at a year. So this was the first time Deshaun and I met. She flew in to Texas. I picked her up. You guys, I was so nervous. I was like, I ain't never done this before. What if she trying to kill me? Right? I was recording everything. And then she did this. When she saw me, this girl picked me up. Like literally.
But I told you I was going to.
I know she was going to pick me up. Like bear hug. Okay. She picked me up in front of everybody. Y'all know me. I don't like being embarrassed. This girl picked me up. I'm like, they probably think we together.
No, it ain't. No, we're not together, y'all. Anybody tuning in is not that type of thing. Okay.
Ain't that type of thing. But it was an amazing moment, I will say. We on the drive back to my house, just the conversation that we had, and Water Bucket Head over here cried. So I was like, okay, this girl really crazy. Like, why is she crying? Why is she crying? I'm a Water Bucket Head too, but I was like, okay, something. But I understand now why she cried, during those moments when we were in the car. It was because of the love that she felt in her heart towards me. And here I am, right? Still, God was dealing with me with areas in my heart that I didn't know needed to be healed. And of course, I'm like, you don't know how to receive that. So like you talk about when something is new, you don't always know how to receive it. And we will often reject what God is sending because it doesn't look like what we think it should look like, or it doesn't feel like what we think it should feel like. So God, you may be praying out to God and saying, like she said earlier, for relationships, and God is like, okay, well, go show your face on social media or be intentional about reaching out and developing relationships. And you like, no, that ain't the route, because I'm an in-person type girl. Listen, some of the best relationships that I've had enter into my life in the last 2 years has been a result of social media, starting with you. And just being connected to other people, just being connected to other people. I have others, but I just want to really expound on the beauty of social media. Because I know for me personally, with my struggle, I was like, I ain't got time. I schedule my social media, and things of that nature, but I was not open to actually meeting people in person like that. I was like, no, I need the whole background check on you first.
And you should. Let me stop.
Right.
I think y'all should. Look,
it was beautiful though, but I'll let you go ahead and say what you wanted to say.
Yeah, it was awesome. I felt like, and this is a strong word, and it's not, like I said, there's nothing going on here, so we can cancel that out. But this is the fact: when you are relating to others on social media, male or female, whoever that you're relating to, you're courting them.
Mm-hmm.
You're courting them because you're getting. What that simply means is you're getting to know them. You're getting to know them with no strings, not with worrying about what you're going to get out of it, but it is just to get to know them. And so my particular thing when I first met Tacondra was to display the love of the Father.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sons do.
Yeah.
I know sometimes when you display love of the Father, sometimes it can look interesting because some people, like she said, you don't know how to receive it. You maybe be not used to receiving that. Somebody may not always have given that to you like that. In a friendship, sometimes people may have stabbed your back or tried to use you, or you're like, okay, where's the string? What do you want?
Yeah.
Why are you keep,
What's the agenda?
Yeah, what is this? What is the agenda? But there was really no agenda. I was really only being obedient to God. But listen, this is the other thing about it. And I cried out to God. Matter of fact, 2014, I wrote a long list and I said to God, Lord, I said, I want to invest in the relationships that you want me to invest in. And if there's any relationships that are old relationships that I have and I'm not investing in them and I should be, show me who that is. And so I'm a big believer when you pray to God once, he hears you. Some of us think God's deaf. so we're talking to him about the same thing. And he's like, I'm sending you answers. And so I didn't really need to, per se seek God about who was Tacondra. Was she here to harm me or whatever that was? God gave me discernment. He also speaks through feelings. Okay. Yes. And what you have to know is if you're feeling fear, that's not from God.
That's not God. Yep.
So you have to decipher your feelings and saying what's from God, what's not from God. And as you begin to do that, then you can embark in these new relationships and you can reap the benefits of these relationships, which is the things I talked about: connection, new relationship, and everything that comes with it. Not only did I gain Tacondra as a friend, but her whole family. I gained her family. She don't come by herself. She come with her whole family. And I literally fell in love with her whole family, loved them. And so that was something that I cried out for. And I had no idea it was going to come through social media.
Yeah.
At all. So what I would want to say is this verse that really ministered to me. It's Psalms 38, verse 9. And it says, my tears are liquid prayers. And I want to say that because I know somebody that's listening on tonight is probably have cried out to God. Maybe you're crying out for friends. Maybe you even cried out for a spouse. Maybe you cried out because you're in business, but you don't know how to get your business off the ground, or whatever the case might be. The thing is, when you cry to God, another version says that not just my tears are prayers, but my desires. We shun desires. We feel like that's something we created. No, desires totally come from God.
God, that's right.
There are God desires that he gives you. And one of those is connection with people and friendship. And that's what God wanted to do for me, because he cares about how I feel and he cares about how Tacondra feels. He cares about how you feel. And he doesn't want you to just be in life by yourself. And you and your husband, or you and your husband and your kid, or you and your self, or whatever. He wants you to have people that you connect with outside of your family.
Something you used to tell me before was, because I was that one, like my husband was my everything, best friend, all of that.
And he is. Yeah.
And he still is.
Shout out to
and he occupies, all of my heart. But it was putting a load or a weight on him to be what I needed, what God knew I needed others to do and to feel in my heart. So removing that pressure off of him to be something in my life that someone else needed to be. He can attest, he in the comments. He might complain a little bit because I stay on the phone nowadays. Like I probably don't have time for him. But that's one of that's the beauty of it. That's definitely been one of the things that I've enjoyed the most, is relieving that pressure from him and just allowing people to come into my heart and into my space. And it can be overwhelming. Now, this is coming from someone who, like I said, I'm a people person. I know a lot of people, but I barely let people in. And that's because it was rooted in a lot of pain. It was rooted in rejection, fear, things that I've experienced, throughout my life. But in the last 2-3 years, God has really just been opening up my heart, and I've just been resting in his love. And so I think that, you said God answers our desires. And as I stated earlier, when I was praying to God during that time, I didn't even know what I was praying for. Right. Probably because I was speaking in tongues. Okay. I was speaking
your tears, no.
But my tear, exactly.
They're encoded.
They're encoded. Okay. You are right. You are so right. So God knows what we need, even when we don't know what we need or think we need it.
I'm laughing.
And I just want to encourage someone, not to reject. Be discerning.
Yes, be discerning.
Be very discerning when it comes to social media, but don't reject everybody, because and my thing is, if people approach you in your inbox and they're off the top trying to sell you something, now for me I'm like, listen, ask me how I'm doing first.
Not get something, give something.
Yeah, give something.
I get it. You passionate about your business. That's great.
Yeah,
they don't care. I'm sorry, that sounds bad, but they don't. But what they do care about is connection. And guess what? You have to be okay with they might not want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not really the goal. It's not really the goal. If that's your goal on social media, you are totally missing out.
Yeah.
If that's your only goal, you're not living your life. You're not, because guess what? That's not going to bring satisfaction. Nothing. That is not going to bring satisfaction that true connection brings.
That's true.
It's not. You can get it. It's easy to get a sell.
And here's the thing. This is a firm belief for me. I am not just relational, but transformational more than I am transactional. So if anybody comes in my inbox and it just seems like a transaction without you establishing some type of foundation relationally with me, that's an automatic rejection. So there's a key tip for people. I mean, you might not be as black and white as I am, but for me, that's a foundational thing. That's something that I value. I value being asked, hi, how are you? It can be as simple as that before you go into pitching what you're trying to offer to someone. I think that's a pet peeve that most people on social media, have, whether they want to admit it or not. You'll get straight up ignored if you come in my inbox. That's just me. But Deshawn's wasn't like that. Her approach wasn't like that at all.
And look, I didn't even know about her, but I'll say this. I'll give a tip for somebody out there, because since you mentioned it, if you're a person on social media, you have a business and you do want to get clients and you're like, how do I do that? Well, that wasn't my goal with her. It was really just being obedient. But if that's your goal, know the person. Get to know the person. And what I mean by that is people post on their social media walls. See what the person's about. If you look at their post and you engage them on their post and you comment on their post, then you'll come up in their actual news feeds and you send them a message. You understand what I'm saying? And if from that, you need to know what kind of person are they? Are they an informational person? Are they a person who wants friendship? Are they a person who likes certain things? You have to know the person. This is what they teach in sales. If that's what you're going to do, then that will teach you who you're dealing with. And like Tacondra said, if you're dealing with her, then you cannot come up in her, in her inbox that way.
Yeah,
that don't apply here, because that wasn't really the case with us. Where it was a divine thing. Well, honestly, that what happened between us. Now, there are times in my social media, because I do run an outside business as well, where I will have people that I do approach with opportunities. And I use what I just told you there, as far as getting to know who the person is, to know how to approach them.
Absolutely.
And you can look that up on social media anywhere. It tells you the 4 types of type people, the 4 types that they are. But nobody honestly likes when people do that they send things in their inbox. So I definitely wouldn't do that. And where's the curiosity?
Yeah.
So anyways, that was a little tip out that we throw out there. But like, as Tacondra was saying, if we let all these barriers keep us back, we're going to be lonely. And guess what? This sounds crazy, but I'll tell you a personal story really quick. So on my mother's side, there is almost 32 nieces and nephews that they had on that side of the family. They'll probably watch this live. It's okay. I don't care. And when my grandmother passed away, Most of my cousins didn't speak to me anymore.
Mm.
Okay. And you know, when funerals happen, sometimes craziness happens in the family. So if I was banking on, I don't need anyone else because I have 32 cousins of male and female and all of that, I didn't see that time coming.
Mm.
The Bible says when you what your mother and father forsake you, the Lord will take you up. Well, I say it a different way. If your family forsakes you, if they don't speak to you again, maybe something happens in your family and y'all are estranged, y'all don't speak anymore.
Yeah.
That's who you were banking on. That was my 5 and no more, my 3 and no more.
Yeah.
What other investments in relationships have you made? That's a good question to think about.
Very good question, because you can't expect a return off an investment you're not making.
There you go.
Somebody.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. And so what God wants us to do is to open our eyes bigger and our circle bigger.
Yeah.
And so that not so we can make everybody our best friend. No, everybody's not going to be your best friend, but so that you can be a solution. Because people have problems. They do. Yeah. And they're looking for solutions. And if God has, taught you some things and you've learned some things, then you need to connect with people because you can save them some bumps and bruises.
Absolutely.
And give them some love. So I'll get to if you want to ask, I think you asked this question about
some tips.
The tips of what they can do. So I have 3 tips for those who are here tonight. And thanks, Shirley. I'm enjoying you being on here.
Yeah.
And shout out to you, bro. Eric. All right. So the 3 things that you can do to practice being relational on social media is, even when you're scared, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Don't give yourself an excuse not to be relational. Think about what the Father would do. Would he give himself an excuse not to speak to you? Would he give himself an excuse not to give you brand new mercies every day? Would he give himself an excuse because you used your breath to cuss somebody out yesterday not to give you breath today? No. Just being real, right? He praise him. Yeah. So he'll give it to you anyway. So do it anyway. Right. Secondly, if you're serious about being relational on social media, it's not enough to say it. Schedule it.
Damn.
What's that mean? That means it could be small. Don't try to be in competition with the next person. It could be very simple. Like today, I'm gonna reach out to one person. Maybe something you can practice is I'm gonna send an encouraging note to one person this week. One person each day this week. Watch and see what happens when you do that. Yeah. It could be the same person you send an encouraging note to, or 7 different people, 7 days in the week. Yeah. One person each, and see what happens on that. The last thing that you can do is genuinely get to know people and be willing to listen. Most of the time when we engage people on social media, it should not be you talking the whole time. It should be you listening. You're asking questions, but or whatever that you're saying, but you need to listen. And so many times we're ready to get to the next thing. Right. Without listening. Somebody needs to talk. Probably.
That's it. And like you just said, most of the time people just want to be heard. And I'm good for listening. If anybody know me, we be on the phone for hours because your girl don't know how to, I don't even know how to say bye to people. That's a gift the Lord has given me. I have the gift of listening to people. So any more tips you have for those who are tired of social media but desire to grow? Feel free to share more. In the meantime, you guys, if you have any questions for Shoney Official about social media, like I said, drop them in the comment. She's also assisting. She assists with helping you build. So if there's an online show that you want to build maybe or start, don't hesitate to reach out to her. Hit her up in her DM. Is it DM on Facebook? No, Messenger.
I don't know.
Instagram.
I don't know. PM, DM, personal
message. DM, y'all know what we're talking about. Send her a message. You can actually find her on social media by typing in her name, Shoney Talks Lifestyle. Shoney Talks Lifestyle. That's on Instagram as well as Facebook. And then, of course, you'll see the other platforms that she is on as well. But reach out to her. She can definitely, help you increase your relational intelligence when it comes to not just the things of God, but social media as well. So I highly encourage you to do so. You have any final words or any type of inspiration that you want to share with our viewers before we end tonight's show?
Definitely. I want to say first, thank you for having me on your show. Love your show. And I love how authentic and genuine that you are. Thank you all for tuning in on tonight. Please make sure that you share this live with somebody that is out there. I'm scrolling through social media every day, and I know people need to hear this particular message. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is be bold enough every day to brave relationships. That could be the one that you're living with. That could be the one that you haven't talked to. Yeah. Start braving relationships. The more that you do it, the easier it will become. That's what I would leave you with. And thanks for watching.
Great tip. Great tip. Well, you guys, before we go, I just want to thank you again for tuning in tonight. Come back with me next Tuesday. What date is that? I don't know what date it is. The 9th, I think. March 9th, I'll be going live again with another special guest, and we'll be talking about the wounds of rejection, the truth about it, okay? On Truth Talks with T. Thank you. I love you guys. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
See ya.